Hello and welcome to 60 Minutes or Less, a podcast from Birthday Cake for Breakfast. I'm Andy Hughes, and for episode 69, it's a trip down memory lane, featuring an interview with Mat Haigh of Halifax math rock outfit Wot Gorilla. What a mouthful! Formed in 2009 in Sowerby Bridge, Wot Gorilla ain't lying when they say they've carved out their own corner of the UK's math and post-hardcore scene. Nearly 20 years in the game, the lineup has shifted over the years as they've shared stages with all sorts, from Rolo Tomassi to the Get Up Kids. Having interviewed Mat many times over the past decade plus, we reconnected at the start of 2026 ahead of the release of the latest Wot Gorilla album, Stay Home, out that very same month via Drongo Records. With the record coming out just shy of 10 years on from the release of their last EP, Angel Numbers, we had a lot to talk about. Over Zoom, we spoke of life at home in Halifax, Turnstile rumours, the joys of social media, playing music as a older person, and almost 2 decades of Wot Gorilla. If you like the episode, let us know. Follow us on your favourite streaming platform and follow Birthday Cake for Breakfast on all the socials. Right, on to Mat Haigh. Enjoy.
How are you
How you
doing?
doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thanks. Well, I say that I'm full cold, but I'm all right enough.
You're looking, chops are looking good.
Oh man, well, it's not intentional. It's I've got like alopecia in my
Oh
beard.
shit.
Like I've had it for like I've got long COVID, and since 2023 I've just been riddled with all sorts of different shit. And this is one of the things I think, like my immune system's like just fighting the wrong areas. And this is really gutting, to be honest. Yeah, so I'm just like shit, it kind of stops there. It's really weird. Like the pattern of the alopecia is like up here a little bit and then totally bald, but like almost perfect chops. So it's really weird.
And that
But
was
but yeah.
just because of COVID.
Well, I put it down to that because I've felt like shit for 3 years pretty much, and I think my immune system's just it's just shot. It's just totally shot. And I know when I've read about beard alopecia, it's something to do with your immune system, and it's like fighting the wrong areas, and that's why you end up with. So it's like coming back now, but it comes back white, totally white. I think if you Louis Theroux's got it, and he's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's got no eyebrows. His is really bad. So I haven't got that far yet. Luckily, I've got my tashes kind of there. I just have to like make do design around the alopecia, and it kind of works. But I'd
Oh
much
mate,
rather have a full beard like you.
I'm sorry for
I
you,
miss
yeah.
having that. Oh man, there's worse shit going on.
That's true. I won't include your woes in
No,
the
oh, there'll be plenty
recording.
of that anyway. You know what I'm
Well,
like.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, I mean with these things, we normally like to find out how you are and where we find you at this specific period. We're at least in the same time zone, I think, so that's a good start.
Yeah,
You've just been saying about some long COVID woes, but outside of that, how do we find you and, where are you up to? Are you in Halifax?
I'm in Halifax. Yeah, I did notice you've been chatting with some mega people, and then you've dropped down to speak to me in Halifax. So yeah, I appreciate you taking the time for us little guys. But
Of course,
yeah,
mate, of
but
course.
yeah, it's all pretty grim over in Halifax, which is pretty standard.
Yeah, it's pissing it down here as well.
Yeah,
It's
same over there.
it's weird to see you over the internet because we only ever seem to see you at turnstile shows these days.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Even though like that lead show many years ago it was like 5 years ago, I think, but
Was
it's
it? Oh
seeing you
my
at the
God.
one the other week and then yeah, seeing the lead show, I was like, oh
That's
yeah, that's the only time.
it's the only time we see each other. Yeah. That's,
Which
well,
isn't too which isn't too bad.
I've seen that they're meant to be coming to Peace Hall. There's a
Are they?
leak. There's a leak. I don't know how true it is, but I did notice someone posted it and everyone's sharing it around like, oh, it looks like they're coming. So maybe I'll see you there. Although I
100%, yeah.
feel like I've seen them enough times, but if they came to Halifax, I'd have to go, I think.
It's mad what's happening in Halifax, isn't it? Like, and it's not
Yeah,
even recent. It's been happening for like 10 years, isn't it? The Peace Hall's so good in terms of
it's it's
programming.
madness. Yeah. Well, for me, like going to school around Halifax and listening to a lot of the bands that have come here, it's like it doesn't make sense really. It still doesn't. It's still blagging. I mean, it is a perfect location for it, and I think we're all very grateful that that's what they use. I think there was a chance it would just get torn down at one point, and then they've obviously turned it into this mega venue now, thankfully, because yeah, it's it's just mind blowing, really.
Could have torn it down, but instead they were like, we need to put Father John Misty on, so
Yeah, yeah.
got to do it
I
somewhere.
was I once had my lunch. I once had my lunch. Well, in the early days, I don't know if they do it now, but it was a good few years ago. And I used to sit and have my lunch in Peace Hall. I was sat there one lunchtime, and who was it? Who was it? Was there now? Mac DeMarco was just sound checking on my lunch. I was just having
Oh,
my
wow.
sandwich and just got to watch him sound checking because they left it open while sound checks were going on. So that was cool.
Really? So you just
Yeah,
walk in and just, oh, wow, because
yeah.
we
You
were at
could
that. Sh
just.
Yeah.
Oh, you were at that gig the night.
Yeah.
When was that?
It was summer, like, it was after we'd done Here Comes the Cowboy. So it was like 2022, maybe 2021.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
think anyway, it might have even been 2018, but we went and it was me, Ben, obviously you know Ben,
Yeah, yeah.
and my partner, and we were like, should we get pints? Should we do that? And then we ended up just getting like every time one of us went to the bar, it's like, just get a bottle of white wine each. Not each, sorry, not every time. Just
It's
like
like, what?
whoever went to the bar was like, just get a bottle of white wine and just get a few glasses. And it was like watching that in like the Calderdale sun. It was such a memory in the Peace Hall. It was so good.
Yeah, it's just a really good, and they never oversell it, do they? Like there's always
Yeah,
room to roam around and if you're not happy in one spot, you move another one, and you still got space around you, and the bars are never the queues are never that bad. It's like it's just perfect. I
it's
hope
so
it
good.
hope it continues and they keep the numbers as they are because it's perfect.
Like you
Did you
say,
go
mate,
to any last
I'll
year?
see you at Turnstile.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't think I've been since Queen to the Stone Age played there.
Oh yeah.
Seen some great shows there, but we got stung last time by like the gyros van for about
Oh,
100 quid for a plate of chips. But yeah,
well, that's pretty standard at most festivals, isn't it? And gigs like that.
well, that segs us nicely, Matt, to as I'm sure you can recall, we sat down to interview you. I think this must have been the last time we did it because we've done stuff for Birthday Cake and What Gorilla over, just written pieces and stuff. But we sat down with you at Art Tangent Festival
Mm.
almost a decade ago, and you'd said at the time that you were hoping to release an album in a year or two, and that the riff bank was overflowing. So your new
Oh my God.
album, Stay Home, is mere days away from release. So
Yeah,
even though at the time, you'd hoped to maybe get something out in a few years, that didn't happen, but you are now on the way to actually releasing a new record. So given the amount of time it's
yeah.
taken to get here, how does it feel to be on the cusp of that?
It feels great, but yeah, I do talk some shit, don't I? Like God. But things happen, and I'd not Indian not long since been born, so she was quite young, and yeah, and then COVID happened. So much has happened, and with new band members and band members come and gone actually in that time. So I think it makes sense that it's only just happening. But yeah, what a relief to finally get it out. And I was thinking about that the other night, about that conversation, and I was in a right state for that one. Well, yeah, it's just a relief. That's the main emotion from this, especially after all those years. Yeah, I think 2017 was the last time we released something. Yeah, Angel Numbers, an EP, 2017. So it's almost 10 years. So well overdue.
Other than it being, a relief for you personally and as a band, those people that are still in the band, that is, what sort of feelings does it conjure up, knowing that you did have, outside of a few singles, quite a gap between Angel Numbers coming out and this new record, how does that, do you ever look at the amount of time that's taken, or is it just a case of because of life stuff getting in the way, you don't really concentrate on that sort of stuff?
I don't think, yeah, I don't. I think you could get pretty down about it if I did about how long it's taken. But I think, yeah, like life stuff just does get in the way. And I think we've got to have 2 or 3 years leeway because of COVID. I'll take that. And I got pretty ill with it as well. So I think I had it like 8 or 9 times, and it just totally knocked me. So I think there was a lot of time where we couldn't even practice or get down the room and write the stuff. So it gave me a lot of time to write at home and, increase the riff bank. Um, but not that I needed any more, but I did have it afforded me that time, but I couldn't get down to a room for a lot of the time. And I know it's pretty obvious to call it stay home and it relate to COVID and things, but the title track is all about that really, and it felt appropriate because it's taken up a lot of my life anyway. So
Is there with the other members of the band? I think it was the three of you mainly, wasn't it? And then you've got the
we've
Grant who's
got.
putting the record together and all the rest of it. How was it for them? I'm sure that, they weren't saying, God, Matt's not coming to practice all the time because, he's ill. But like, how was it in the camp internally, knowing that, not only have you got the personal life stuff going on, but yeah, in your case, you are struggling with long COVID.
To be honest, we've never spoken about that, really. It's not really been spoken about. I think, to be honest, they probably welcomed a bit of a break because I'm pretty like strict with like practices and like we've got to get down and we're down for hours, and I think they probably enjoyed the time where I wasn't like that, to be honest. But no, we haven't really discussed it. And when it did come down to when I was able to like get down properly again, it was like we're just straight on it, and I think the inclusion of Grant like really helped with writing and just a positive addition to the band. So he brings the positivity down there. I don't think you'll have met Grant because it was a while after Art Tangent that he joined. But yeah, he's a good lad.
Very Halifax sounding way of yeah fleshing out
Yeah,
your
good lad.
bandmate. He's a good lad.
Yeah.
So with COVID being a theme, because of the length of time it took to make the new record, I read that it meant that you were rediscovering songs that kind of existed pre-pandemic. How does it, impact those songs? Could you tell much in the way of a change? Is there much in the way that you write in changes between the two periods? Because, like it or not, these were different times, when these were recorded and such. So does that have much of an impact on the actual songwriting process, those earlier songs, or is it all just a case of chuck it all into the mix?
It's definitely a case of chuck it all in the mix. That's pretty much how I write songs. I guess it's all. It, to be honest, a lot of the riffs will have come about way before. So like 2014, I reckon a lot of some of the riffs came from. But they'll be like the spark that brings the next set of riffs, and I think. I don't know. They somehow meld together, and I don't think there is much of a shift between. That's probably a bad thing, really, if I think about it. That there isn't much of a change and much of a difference in the way I'm writing things. Lyrically, maybe I've had put more thought into it and thought, I've actually had more to sing about. But in terms of musically, I think we've always done some things the same way. I'll come in with basic structure and then we kind of like flesh it out and see which bits work together as a band and like what bits everyone what people gravitate towards. And if something doesn't work, then I'll pluck another riff out out of the bank, and then we'll try that one and kind of try and meld them all together, and we get there in the end. And that process is, it'll probably never change, to be honest. And I like the way it works. Well, it works for us anyway. I'm sure it's difficult to for some people to listen to, but every song that we write, I think a lot of these songs, I think the shortest one's probably 5 minutes, and then they range from 5 to 7 to 11 minutes. But each song, it's not like we're setting out to write a long song because we want to write a long one. Just the journey it goes on, that's it feels right, and it starts there and it ends there, and that's it. And I don't know, that's a really dumbed down way of talking about how we write songs. And I think that's always been the case. So in short, yeah, I don't think anything's changed really pre-pandemic and after. But I'm sure it has, but I've not noticed. And the actual formula that we use is unchanged.
It's interesting you say that because you are speaking to a lay person, so that's quite helpful dumbing it down in
Hmm.
terms of the production of the songs. But like there were moments on the record, the new record, where I was listening and I was and then like there was a gap and then it started again and I was like, all right, we're still in the same, still in the same tune. And I've always wondered, whether people are like, right, we're gonna bash out a 1 minute number here. Like, that first Wire record is full of songs that are like some of them are like 40 seconds long and others are like 5 minutes long. So like, have you ever been in a position where you're like, let's bash out a 2 minute number or what I suppose you wouldn't call them numbers, but or is it a case of like you say, because of that, chuck it into the mix, chuck it into the pot that like the journey can last as long or as little as it needs, really? Is that the case?
It is the case, but I think when I've seen that all these songs, and I'm contradicting myself now, when I've seen how long all these songs are, and people do comment on it as well, like, God, I wish you just had a shorter song. It does make me think, like, whatever we do next, and maybe I'll set some parameters and we'll try and work towards those and just give it a go, because why not? Let's see if it works. But I don't know. It's never struck me before, but I think this album has made me realize, like, maybe we could focus on getting some shorter songs written. It'd be nice. It'd be nice for everyone, I think.
It's interesting, to kind of pivot away from that. I read something you said which was quite interesting about some of the challenges you've faced in the past with like negative commentary and sometimes very personal feedback. And there, you've just said that you've possibly had some people saying, God, can't they write a shorter song? So like
Yeah.
that sort of thing, is it that much of an issue that it's still, occurring? And have you had much of that scenario in, most recent times in terms of that sort of feedback?
Not really. I shouldn't be talking about negative reviews, but we definitely have. We have just had one recently, and she basically was just saying, yeah, the songs are too long. They don't seem to know what genre they're going for, and I just don't get it. And like to me, well, she doesn't get it. That's fine. And it wasn't, that's as far as she went really. I think she appreciated some elements of it, but I think it's fair enough. Everything she said was true. So, but it's not like we don't know what genre we are or what we're trying to achieve. It's just that that's how I want the songs to sound. So it sounds good to me. It feels good to us all when we're writing it. So we'll stick to it. But no, I think live, we hadn't played live that much the last few years either. So it's only been the last year or so where we really got back into gigging. And I don't know, it's felt different somehow. I don't know if it's we're just growing up a little bit more and not quite as insecure, but they've felt a lot more comfortable and don't don't seem to see much negativity, and it doesn't feel as negative. I think I even could feel it sometimes playing gigs in the past. I felt like, God, I just don't feel right, but it doesn't feel as that it doesn't feel that way so much now. But you know, that could change. We're on tour next in a couple of weeks, and ask me again, you know,
We'll
when I
set up,
next see you at a Turnstile gig.
yeah, we'll set up a follow-up consultation
Yeah.
once you're back from tour. I mean, how is it, being on stage and having that sort of feeling where either you're thinking this isn't going well, or you're seeing people staring at you and thinking they're not
I
enjoying this or what have you, like how do
I
you've obviously got even just songs that you'll have to be like, well, we've got to play the rest of the songs. So how does that, how do you kind of take on that?
Well, firstly, don't look at the don't look at the audience a lot of the time. I still can't do it. You know, I'm a lot an older man now, and you'd think that you just grow out of that, but I'm still, yeah, I still get very insecure and worried about things. But I would say the majority of it is in my head. But then it stems from reading negative stuff in the past, like even as far back as like when we were just kids, well, not kids, like early 20s, 2009, 2010, when we first started gigging and stuff, there was so much negative stuff out there on Twitter as it was back then. And I'd always search them up as well. I don't know why I did that. I'd always want to read up. Well, you're wanting to see the positive stuff, and there would be some there, but it's always the negative stuff that sticks with you. So yeah, how do you deal with it? Don't read anything. Don't read good or bad reviews. It's better to just kind of stay clear for it. But like I say, like these gigs recently haven't really felt that as much. It's more a case of like, well, I'm quite confident and happy with what we've done, and just hopefully some of these people enjoy it. Because I know we're not for everyone. We're a bit of a Marmite band, and certainly the genre, whatever it is that we're playing, it's kind of had its day, I think. So, but not that I think I don't. I know I'm saying math rock anyway has had its day, but I feel like we're something else now. So it's kind of like we're not in. I don't know what we're in. We're not involved in a scene anymore. Not that we were kind of on the fringes of all that back then. So I don't know. Yeah, I've kind of veered off now. Sorry.
No, it's fine, mate.
Just
I mean, I suppose, yeah, like the genre hopping anyway. I mean, it must be hard, particularly with the way things are, especially like if you were to look up on Instagram math rock, you'd probably see some absolute virtuoso 20-year-old who's can play every single instrument, wouldn't you? But like
mm,
that in itself, is that something as well that, like you try and avoid the negatives and all the rest of it? But is that something in terms of this kind of stems into your song, the closer, Young Man's Game? I think it's the
mm.
closer.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
the fact that you will likely have these people who are bashing out this stuff on the internet and they've got like a whole social media vibe about them that means, things are getting seen to such a degree. How is it,
Mm.
coming into that sort of thing and releasing an album when it's different now to what it even was when Angel Numbers came out? How is it the landscape today for you guys?
Yeah, well, I feel like we're probably just not really involved with that, which we probably should be. It's a funny one. That's where I guess the success is these days as well. And again, we're not really following that. We're just doing what we've always done, which so I don't know. I don't know if we're really taking much notice of it either, which we probably should do. Especially this genre as well. Yeah, sorry, I haven't got much to add on that.
No, no, it's fine. I mean, it would be, I think, more beneficial to because it's so much easier to just focus on what you're doing, isn't it? Rather than be outside making dances that's got nothing to do with your music or what you're doing. I'm sure it's so much easier to just keep your head down and
Yeah, just well, it wouldn't be genuine if we did things like that. If we tried to get involved with all that stuff, I think it'd just come across, yeah, a bit lame, to be honest, I'd imagine. So,
in terms of the social media posting and stuff. I did love seeing that Kerrang had you on a few of their playlists and stuff. And we interviewed Jamie Lenman a while back, and we
mm,
spoke about how cool it was. When you're in HMV and they've got the dividers with the CDs and the vinyl, and he said that he had his own name on one of those dividers, and he said that was one of the things that he was most impressed by. So seeing you guys in a Kerrang playlist on a personal note must have been so wild. And was that much of a thing for you, Kerrang when you were a youth?
Oh
Was that
yeah.
like,
Yeah, Kerrang and Rock Sound. Rock Sound probably more so. Kerrang when I was younger, and then Rock Sound came out, and you obviously got the CD and stuff. But we ended up on one of those back in 2012 when the first album came out. That was pretty mega. Didn't get any better than that for me. There's got on the Rock Sound CD, although they spelled Gorilla wrong. Classic. There's always something wrong with our name. Oh, the question mark's gone. I can deal with that one. But still, it was still cool to be in that. And yeah, to be featured on those playlists is always, it's got to be good. It's just, yeah, it's a shame the magazines are around these days.
yeah, I mean, although if they're spelling gorilla long, gorilla, I
Right.
can't even say it. Can't even say it myself. If they're spelling gorilla wrong, maybe there's a reason that the magazines aren't about anymore. But yeah, I mean, in terms of just having that connection, because even though Kerrang won't be what it was because there's no magazine, or at least I don't think there's a magazine, certainly no rock sound, but having that lineage of all the great bands that have come before, it must be so cool to stick yourselves in there as well.
Yeah, it's great. It doesn't get much better really, does it? So it's nice to be amongst that.
So back on the record itself, we talked about having the ability to say, let's make a short song, let's make a long song, and maybe going the other way with it. In terms of the record, you've said the process was slow and steady, and we know, personal stuff and COVID and all the rest of it, and having kids and such. But is there a scenario where, the four of you can envision maybe the follow-up to Stay Home, let's say, bashing something out in a short amount of time, like going away and getting everything like finalized within a year or two? Would that ever be something that you'd be
It's abs
in?
yeah, it's
Is it something you'd be
absolutely
interested
what.
in? Yeah.
Yeah, I fully intend on the next one. But I said this in 2017. The plan is that we set those parameters, and I don't know about going away. That'd be nice. Yeah, go away, find a cabin somewhere, and do 3 or 4 days would be like the dream, to be honest. But whether that couldn't happen with our current lives, I don't know. But that would be very cool. I do think, yeah, it's very much on my mind that we don't sit around for. Well, we're not that we sat around with this one, but I'd like it to be more immediate, the next release. But it's just how it maybe even, yeah, try and get another album out rather than an EP. Even I think I'd usually say, oh, we'll just do an EP, but maybe we'll just really try to. I feel daft saying this because I didn't manage it last time, but yeah, I would like to set about doing it quicker this time. So we'll see.
You were pretty adamant in at Arctangent rather about, not releasing another EP as well. You were like, it's got to be an
Yes.
album this time. So is that almost like, because I think Angel Numbers is great, but is that almost a case of just because you want to make sure you've got the scope to put out an album rather than possibly saying, oh, we're going to put this out as kind of like a placeholder, even though it's obviously not a placeholder.
Yeah, well, I just think, well, I keep getting told by people EPs are just not, that's just not the way anymore. But I think maybe even just releasing song by song as they come, as we've written them, maybe getting and write them and get them out. Because the drip feeding of this album, well, and songs that aren't on the album, that seemed to work quite well for us, and it makes me think, well, yeah, maybe you can just record as you go and release as you go. But so that's again contradicting what I said earlier. But I think there's just so many avenues you can go down this day and age. I don't know. I like the idea of an album. I think that's why I always get caught up in that. Just having, 9 or 10 songs at least in one package is preferable for me. I think what I need to do is just embrace whatever comes, because the way we've released all these tracks isn't the way I would have done it. Because we've got 2 or 3 more that are not on the album, so we have already got more to release as well. So including an 11, 12 minute song that we have no idea what to do with. and neither does the label. So yeah.
That reviewer that you've already spoken about, she'll hate that, I'm sure,
Oh,
whenever that sees the
oh
light of
yeah.
day.
Oh my God. Yeah, she would hate that.
You never know, though. At least, by the sounds of it, you've got a handful ready to go. You could just surprise bang a new album out as soon as the new record's out already to, yeah, change direction.
We could. It's there. It's the possibilities there.
Quick break in the interview just to give you a heads up about some of our previous episodes. From our first episode to our latest, we featured interviews with the likes of Proto Martyr, The Lovely Eggs, Anna Erhard, Chat Pile, The Future Heads, Public Service Broadcasting, Gang of Four, Joshua Idehen, The Jesus Lizard, and even snooker legend Steve Davis. Treat yourself and go back through the episodes. Be sure to tell all your friends and comrades too. Enjoy.
You got one of them fancy mics.
We were talking about the social media thing. That is
Yeah.
something that I fucking hate. These microphones on the lapels and stuff. I hate it so much in the videos, Where's that come from? With like people holding the mics in their hand and just
Yeah.
being like with like the little muff on the top and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because we're not using the video on these.
No,
Who
no.
knows what might happen in
That,
the future, but yeah, the I don't know why people have just dumbed down like video and audio. It's just yeah.
does it just enhance the quality though for you having that microphone? No.
I don't know. It was better than the old microphone, but who knows, mate? To be honest, it's yeah. But that sort of thing, similar to you saying, being outside of that sort of loop and not doing dances on TikTok and stuff like that. That whole world of yeah, lapel microphones where people just have them right in their hand is just yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'd love to get involved with all that stuff, and because it seems to be where all the money is, and people are making a living out of just playing guitar. It's like it's madness, and I just think it's beyond me. Uh,
There is someone that is like in your sort of contemporaries. Maybe I'll tell you off mic in a bit, but it's not a negative thing. But I saw that they had like their own podcast or their own Instagram series, and the numbers on it were mental. But their band is of a certain size, and they get
yeah,
so much stuff. But them as a person that's just doing whatever it is they're doing, like guitar videos or something, was huge. So yeah,
so,
maybe that's what
well,
you dip
yeah,
into.
yeah. I think Grant could do it, but he's a youngster anyway. But I think I'm past that. Yeah, I do get a bit jealous about that because God, it must be fun. And I mean, I don't know how much they're making, but by all accounts, it looks like they're doing all right.
It's a lot of work though, isn't it?
I suppose it is, and that's it. I don't know what's involved with all that editing and stuff. I wouldn't know the first thing, so it's obviously they're earning the money, I'm sure.
But that ties,
Mm.
neatly into we were talking about it before, but the single, oh, and the album Close the Young Man's Game is exploring, the experience that a few of you certainly in the band have of still playing in a band as you've put as an older person, obviously not an older person, but in the context of, as we were saying, kids on the internet, playing
Mm.
guitar and doing huge numbers and stuff. It may be seen as an older person to someone who's in their early 20s. But what is it like putting out music now and having age become a bit of a factor in that respect? Is it something again that you can just kind of like plow on and say at least you know what you're doing is true to
It
you?
has to be like, yeah, I think it has to be like that because if I really think about it, I just think, God, it could be embarrassing. Like he's still playing in a band at that age, and like, what is he doing? But I mean, I don't really know what else to do. I enjoy it, and we all enjoy doing it. And I think I always say it to my partner as well, like, what are you getting from me? I spend a lot of time doing it, and it feels like a very selfish endeavor, really, and like maybe should knock it on the head. But actually, if it makes us happy, I think that's important. And obviously, I'm conscious of it, and I've written that song about it. But that was more, it was more about the insecurities, and I'm just like that generally. It's not even just playing guitar; it's like having these conversations. Like I think in my head, I'll just be going, "God, I'm just talking shit," and it's like pulling teeth for you, and it's just like that's who I am. So it's mostly my problem, and I think there's loads of people playing music way older than us and still doing good stuff as well. So I'm hoping I can keep it going and maybe just get rid of those thoughts altogether, to be honest, because it's yeah. I've done it. Maybe I've sung the song, I've written the song, and now I can move on and just get on with writing about more interesting things.
Well, I mean, once you pass the insecurities, what else is there to sing about, really?
No,
That's
that's
bread and
true.
butter for a lot of songwriting, isn't it? But
Yeah.
like in terms of that, speaking to your partner and, saying what else is there, I'm, assuming that you agree that it's so much better to have like a side hustle, even if it's not a financial side hustle, to just do something, with your days. Obviously, you've got kids as well, which is
Mm.
perfect. But in terms of being able to do something on the side that's not just work, that must be something that, you
Yeah.
find so fruitful.
Yeah, I'd lose my mind, I think, and that's why I think it's agreed that I keep doing it because I would lose it. Obviously, I got other things going on that I like as well, but music's it's always been such a big part, and it'll never go. So you've got to do something with it. It's pointless. I mean, I know a lot of people who just write music and they just keep it for themselves, and I don't know. I don't know. It's maybe a lot of people would wish that I'd do that, just keep it to myself. But yeah, I like the process, and I still like playing gigs as much as it sounds like I don't. I do enjoy it. So yeah, hopefully I can continue.
So with What Gorilla, the spelling of gorilla incorrect and no question mark at the end at times. You've had the band almost 20 years now, which must be another thing that's, seems crackers. But considering the approach you've had to the band and the way, you've had your releases in the past and lineup changes and all the rest of it, it must still be pretty mad to be reaching such a milestone that I would think it's in 2 or 3 years that you will be, reaching 20 years of a band. So does that in itself seem mad? And is it even something that you think about or?
Yeah, I mean, I do, but then again, obviously the name's been there from day one, and actually, this album, we were in talks to just start again and call the band something else, and ditch what Gorilla, and we spent maybe 4 or 5 months talking about this. It was going ahead. We were changing the band name. And eventually, we just could not agree. We could not agree on a new name that we were all happy with. And we just thought, well, what are we doing? Let's just stick with it. So it could have been the end, to be honest, this album, but it's carrying on. But it does feel like a totally different thing, to be honest. There's only me and the bassist Johnny who's been in from the start. So Jason and Grant are, it's like the third rendition of What Gorilla this, really. Oh, the fourth actually. So we had the original lineup, then it was just me, Johnny, and Jason, and then we got Grant and a guy called Ross, who's an amazing guitarist. Ross was like my guitar hero at school. Like he was 2 or 3 years above me at school, so to have him join was like pretty mental for me. Then he had to. Well, he's got a couple of kids, so he struggled to keep it going. And now we're in this version of the band. So it's been nearly 20 years, but it also feels pretty fresh, because it's a different feel, different lineup. But yeah, it's still we can actually go and say, yeah, we've been a band for 20 years soon, so that will be quite cool. But no, I don't really think about it. Just adding to the stress of getting older.
It's interesting to hear that you almost transitioned into something new and that I'm guessing it was like a WhatsApp thread that
Yeah,
just went out
yeah.
of
Oh God.
control.
Oh, it was awful. We nearly agreed a few times, and there'd be like one of us who wasn't quite, and we all had to be happy really. And it's ridiculous when we've got a name like Wot Gorilla, which I can't, I do struggle with that name nowadays. I loved it. I loved it when we thought, right, let's name ourselves after a Genesis song, but that's all it was back then, and we've kind of stuck with it now. But yeah, we couldn't think of a name that we like more than that, which is crazy, really.
Were there any particular stinkers that came out of the WhatsApp thread exchange?
Oh God, I can't think of any off the top of my head. But all the bad ones will come from Jason. I don't mind saying.
So that, yeah, going back to when we spoke at Art Tangent almost a decade ago. So yeah, there's half the band already, half the band
Yeah,
length, already.
yeah,
You said at the time that, you were surprised that there was any kind of interest whatsoever. And I appreciate that was, like a bit of a self-negging, you know, carrying out there. But like, given the setbacks and the time, between releases and stuff, you've come forward with this new record, and we've talked about, like the Kerrang playlist and the rock sound and all the rest of it. It must be a thrill then for you to have the audience still be there, even though, there's been like setbacks and there's been time delays and stuff. So it must be pretty cool to have the record coming out and still have people there who are backing you and.
yeah. It's nice. It's weird because like we played with. I don't know if you know a band called Pleiades. They're from Manchester, but they're a really great band. But I've only met them since I don't know, a few months ago. We played a gig with them, and we played a few after. But their drummer knew us from back in 2012, and he really loved us back then, and really happy that we've come back. And there's plenty of people that are coming out with these things, and I think, God, I didn't actually think that anyone really was that fussed, to be honest. So it is nice. It is nice. I mean, it'd be pretty depressing if there was none of that at all. We'd maybe have to reconsider why we're still going. But we've definitely, it's been really nice coming back, and everyone we played with. A lot of these bands that we played with are younger than us and do know who we are, and it's like, yeah, it's quite nice.
And it must be what keeps you going in a sense, because yeah, like you say, otherwise yeah.
Yeah, it would be a bit pointless if no one was enjoying it. But as long as we've got a few of those, I mean, from what I can see, most our fans are in America, and they always have been. And it's a huge, massive, massive difference when you look at, the play stats on all the streaming platforms. It's 60% at least America audiences, and they're the ones that contact us on Instagram, messaging us, and all that stuff. But obviously, I know what you're going to say. That any plans to go over there, and I don't think that would be viable. So it's a shame, really, that there's something about us that translates better over there. I think I don't know what that is, but that keeps us going as well, I think.
That's crazy, isn't it? To have like a fan base in somewhere else. And I imagine it must be frustrating if you ever announce a tour
Yeah.
and to have people say, come to Oklahoma or come to, it's like, fuck's
There's
sake.
there's quite a few of them. So yeah, but I just don't see that happening ever. So it's just I wouldn't particularly want to go there the way things are at the moment either. So
Yeah, I mean, whatever social media imprint you have at the minute, you'll have to wipe all of that just to do a few dates.
yeah.
God. Well, I mean,
Mm.
I hope fortunes do pick up so much so that you get to do a 40-date tour
Imad.
of the North Coast and all the rest of it. But yeah, yeah, wishful
Uh,
thinking, isn't it, really,
yeah.
unfortunately, because of the way the states are.
Oh yeah. There's no way.
Because I don't even know how much it would cost you to ship one guitar over there. It wouldn't be cheap, would it?
I dread to think. I dread to think. Uh,
But no, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate you hopping on.
Thank you.
Um,
I appreciate you giving us the time when you're getting those big hitters on the podcast. Like, you've come a long way down to speak to me. So really appreciate it. Thank you.